Welcome into the Creighton Basketball Newsletter video version. I'm Jon Nyatawa with the World-Herald, here to talk about the latest in Creighton hoops. I guess the biggest story over the last week for the Jays was the commitment of 2022 recruit Jasen Green, a star at Millard North, going to start his senior season here in a couple months. And after that, he's headed to Creighton. He made his decision last week on a Thursday, right? I think what he told reporters was that he made up his mind the day before, called all the coaches, let them know, and then announced it the next day. Obviously an important addition for Creighton for a number of reasons. We'll talk about those in a second, but I wanted to touch on Jasen Green's game for a second. He's a 6'7", 6'8", maybe, wing, versatile scorer. He can get to the basket, knock down jump shots, kind of your standard, I don't know, small, new age small forward, if that's what you want to call him. Again, he can do a lot of different things offensively. I think he has some really good instincts. Like, he attacks the glass really well. I think he moves without the basketball really well too. So I like what he does defensively. You know, the highlights, we watch highlights a lot, right, in recruiting circles, and he does a lot of nice blocks. So I think he's got the potential to really grow and blossom into a solid contributor for the Jays during his college career. So an important add for that reason, because he's talented and he's going to help Creighton. I think the Jays at this point, the way the roster stands, they were on the hunt for a player that fit his profile, that position, that wing type spot, where a guy could maybe play. Creighton's a positionless basketball team, but to identify, put some sort of label on it, the 3 or the 4. If a player who can play the 3 or the 4, that's what Creighton was kind of looking for. Because right now on the roster, going into next year, Mason Miller, Arthur Kaluma, those are the guys, and I'm not quite sure, to be quite honest, how long they're going to be around. Arthur Kaluma perhaps a little bit more ahead of Mason in terms of the development track, but they both had the potential to leave college early, depending on how their games grow. So I think it was important for that reason to get a player like Jasen Green in the program within this 2022 class. I think the local tie thing obviously is important too. Creighton's had a lot of success over the years, especially recently, recruiting locally. I mean, you think of the Justin Patton, Kyrie Thomas, Sharif Mitchell's on the roster right now. And so to keep that pipeline going is important for the program from a reputation standpoint. It seems like the high school basketball in this area from a talent standpoint is just on the upswing. And so obviously Creighton wants to continue to have guys have positive experiences and you know, like I said, keep that pipeline going. It does sort of like, because the basketball scene is kind of blown up in a way, at least from a national perspective. More coaches and programs have their eyes on Omaha, Nebraska area talent. Creighton has actually missed out on some of its targets here locally, and so, you know, Isaac Trout is going to Virginia. He announced that he's in the 2022 class. He recently announced that. Max Morrell a couple years back, he's at Stanford. Luke Warr he's at Oregon. Hunter Salas, obviously, just last year decided to go to Gonzaga. So those are some players that, from a skill set standpoint, talent standpoint, like, you'd think, yeah, they fit what Creighton likes to do, and the Jays were recruiting all of them, and they ended up going elsewhere because, again, they have a lot of options, more eyeballs on them, and so they chose to go out of state. But from that standpoint, I think it's important that Creighton, as I say, you don't want to miss out on another guy who you think could potentially fit what you're trying to do. So I guess Chucky Hepburn's another guy who was on, who's going to Wisconsin, and Creighton obviously extended an offer to him as well. So important sort of addition from that perspective as well. I'm eager to see what Creighton does with its last remaining scholarship. So Jasen Green joins Ben Stolzelberg, the combo guard out of LA. Those two are at this point, the two known members of the 2022 class for Creighton. And at the way it stands right now, obviously a lot can change, and probably will, because it's college basketball and players transfer or leave early. Rarely does the roster projection in, September match what it is in what reality is in April. But if it stands the way it is right now, Creighton only has one scholarship to use for next season. And I would imagine that the coaching staff is kind of pigeonholing that roster spot for center. So where do the Jays go for that position? Do they check out the high school recruiting world? They find a senior who maybe is a little bit under the radar. Do they go the JUCO route or the transfer route? Can they go international? I mean, we've seen Creighton do a lot of different things over the past couple seasons to fill positions of need. And to me, that's going to be one, because after this year, it's Ryan Kalkbrenner, and that's about it, right, at the 5. And so they're going to need some size to rotate into that 5 position. So that's where the Creighton stands from a recruiting standpoint. And so they still do have some work to do. But a couple nice additions with Ben Stolzenberg and Jasen Green, 2 guys who I think, you get them into the program. Creighton's been great with development and helping guys improve and help them maximize their potential. Those 2 guys, they have a lot of promise. So eager to see what they can do in a Creighton uniform. Practice is starting in about a week, so there's going to be plenty of Creighton coverage. It's just heating up, right? Like, there's obviously a lot of excitement for this team, a lot of unknowns, so plenty to report on and analyze and project and guess. We'll see. I mean, we don't know what's going to happen really with this group, but eager to bring you as much news as I can and much analysis as I can over the coming weeks. So check out omaha.com. If you haven't subscribed to the paper, please do that. If you haven't subscribed to this newsletter, do it. It's really easy. Omaha.com/newsletters. That's a website. Put it into your browser and you'll find a little box that you just click, and you're getting to get these updates in your email inbox every week. So and let me know if you got any questions, feedback, good or bad. I'm all ears. My DMs are open on Twitter. My email is easy to access, and I try to check that as often as I can. So give me some feedback. Like I said, we're ramping up, and plenty to discuss over the next weeks, months. I mean, the season starts in November. Practice starts next week. So again, it's a fun time, exciting time for Creighton basketball, and I'm happy to be able to report on it as best I can. So appreciate you watching. We'll see you again next week.